Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end of my Rover review, for being a... Oliver! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to bring you a short little review of the Rover app and what it's like to work for Rover. First thing I want to talk about Rover is what Rover actually is. Rover is a dog service. When I say dog service, I mean like dog walking, dog sitting, dog boarding. I think those are the main three things that you can do through Rover, both as a customer and as a Rover employee. So that's the main purpose of Rover. So my first job with Rover, it took me quite a while to get one. I actually just got my first gig with Rover about a week and a half ago, and that was the very first one I've gotten in about 2 years when I signed up to work as a Rover person. So it took me a long time. It might have been my account and how I had it set up and my profile and what I had in it, because I may not have included the right information that really makes your account pop to customers. It might have also been the places that I was living in and trying to get Rover gigs. They weren't necessarily like big cities, so living in the Los Angeles area probably has given me a better chance of getting Rover gigs, but I do want to say it took me at least a year and a half before I got my first Rover gig. So the other big thing with Rover is the hiring process. Now it has been quite a while since I completed the hiring process because it's been about 2 years since I did it. So I don't personally remember it very well. I do remember I don't think it took very long. I actually looked it up. It looks like you have to do a background check and set up your profile. I think there is some training that you're supposed to complete, but that might have been with WEG. They're very similar with their setups. And I think it only took a few days before I was online for the Rover app, so I definitely wouldn't say it takes very long. However, like I've said, it might take you quite a while to actually get your first gig, because once customers meet a sitter, walker person on Rover, they tend to stick with them, so it can be kind of difficult to get in there. But I think the hiring process was pretty straightforward and quick. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about what my first job for Rover was like. My first job for Rover was actually one that I'm still doing technically. I've done it 3 times. I've babysat these dogs 3 times so far, and I have at least 2 more days scheduled. It's for a couple that lives not very far from my house, and they're moving soon, and so they're actually moving in like less than a week. So I'm going to be watching their dogs for a couple more days before they move. So far, previous to this, I've watched them 3 times in the last about week. Now what I've done is it's just been a sitting at their house, and it hasn't been overnight because they've still been there, but they wanted to have someone in the house or in the apartment with the dogs while they've been gone or while they've been packing, because it's been making the dogs really nervous. So they have 2 dogs, and I've just been taking care of them by taking them out for walks and keeping them calm. I fed one of them a couple times. It was pretty simple and straightforward. And I've just been taking care of them, making sure nothing happened or, they were getting into anything, since there's a lot of boxes and things around their apartment right now. So it's been pretty straightforward. The couple is really nice, and so I haven't minded doing the work. They aren't paying me a whole lot for the job. I'm getting paid $50 for about 5 to 6 hours each time, which I normally wouldn't do if it was like an overnight thing. I would ask for a higher pay rate. But the couple, it literally is like 4 minutes from my house, and the dogs are cute, and it gives me a chance to work on my schoolwork, so I've been doing it for them. And I also know that it's not going to be a long-term thing since they are moving, so that's why I've been keeping with it for the pay that I'm getting. The job has also been really easy in like starting it. I went in to their apartment and met the owners and the dogs the day before my first sitting, and it was there like 15 minutes. I just met the dogs, made sure that they liked me, they weren't scared or aggressive towards me, anything like that. Got to look around the apartment, saw the basics, talked with the owner about what they would like me to do with the dogs, and then I left, and that was my first little stop by. I wasn't paid for that. That was just a meet and greet, which is really encouraged on Rover for you to do with the owners and the dogs. Each time that I babysit the dogs, the owners are also home before I leave, so they let me in. They give me a key to have so I can lock up the apartment when I take the dogs out, but they're still there when I get there, and then they normally leave to go to work or whatever they were doing that day, and then they come home and I leave once they're home. So it hasn't been anything tricky like getting into the house without them there. I think that's really all I have to say about my first gig with Rover. It's not a particularly technical one that I've had, or any like special circumstances, so it's been pretty straightforward. I want to talk about pros and cons with you about Rover. However, the thing is, this is my very first gig that I've done with Rover. I've done it a few times, but it's still only the first like individual gig that I've done, so I don't have a whole lot of pros and cons. The pros are that the app is really easy to use and to message the owner, I would say, and it's pretty straightforward to get gigs and to look at all the details and things like that. One of the biggest cons that I wanted to talk to you about, though, is the pay. Now, I'm not sure if Rover takes out a percentage or a certain amount from the amount of money that you make per job, but mine, like I told you earlier, they are $50 per each day that I've been watching the dogs. I just got my money for the last couple times a few days ago, and I looked at it, and Rover took out $10, or in my case, it would have been 20%. Now, to me, that's a ton, especially when I'm getting paid such a small amount. Even if I was getting paid a larger amount, 20% would be a lot. I'm hoping maybe it's like $10. I doubt it though. I'm guessing it is a percentage that they take out, which to me is a big turnoff and doesn't make me want to do very many gigs in the future. So that is one thing I would definitely consider when you are setting your rates and when you're booking clients, the kind of jobs that they want you to do and the pay that they're offering. So I would definitely keep that in mind. So overall, is working for Rover worth it? For me, I find I get a ton of jobs, just dog walking jobs on WEG, which is a very, very similar platform. The one thing that I really like about WEG versus Rover is that on WEG, the jobs pop up on a little calendar of available walks, and you as the walker get to select the jobs. Now, you may not get it because maybe someone else hit it just a second before you. It is like a very, you see it pop up on a notification, you want to jump right on it, but you have a better chance of getting it. Whereas Rover, like I said, it took me at least 1.5 years to get my first gig because the owners actually choose you, which is fine, except when you're starting out, it's extremely hard to get your first gig. So that's one thing for me that was really annoying, was sitting here with this, job I was supposed to be able to do, and I wasn't getting anything because maybe something in my profile wasn't right, or maybe I just wasn't in a very popular area, but it was just very annoying. So for me, I would say WEG was much more worth it than Rover because the pay is better. The pay that they offer you when you book a walk on WEG is the amount that you're going to get paid, minus any tips that you might get added on later by the owner. Whereas Rover, they show you, the owner will say how much they're going to pay you before you book a job, and then that amount you subtract what Rover's going to take out, which I didn't even know how much they were going to take out. And so it was a really big surprise when I saw that I was only actually making $40 instead of $50 for, a job that was already like 5 to 6 hours. So for me, I don't think Rover was really worth it. It might depend and be totally different if you live like in a big city, where I've just moved to a bigger city, so I have a new clientele area. To me, Rover is just faster and it's more user-friendly, I would say. So for me, I would go with WEG over Rover. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, guys, of my Rover review, what it's like to be a Rover worker, what it's like to complete the hiring process, get started, and actually work a job, and my pros and cons and which one was more worth it for me. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me comments below about what else you want to see. I'm willing to do these review videos on any other side gigs you'd like me to do, so just let me know, and I will see you in the next one.